Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We have finally made it to the first week of the NFL season, so that means we're able to actually rank these week 1 guys. As you can tell, I'm going to be starting off with my top 24 running backs, and then I'll also do my top 24 wide receivers. Probably won't do quarterbacks and tight ends this week because you're pretty much just playing whoever you drafted. And honestly, a lot of these week 1 rankings are kind of like that, where you're pretty much just going to play who you drafted. There definitely are a few different cases, but for the most part, you're just going to be playing your top guys. I will also have some honorable mentions at the end, and if you do have questions about any of the guys that I didn't mention, just put them down below in the comments and I can answer them. And if you are going to do that, just make sure you put your league format. It helps out a ton. Now with that out of the way, let's get into these rankings. All right, so the first guy I'm going to have here is actually going to be Austin Ekeler, my number 1 spot. They're playing Miami this first week, so I think that this could be a really high-scoring game. Their rookie won't be very integrated right away, and this has one of the highest over-unders on the entire week, so I think there's a lot of opportunity for Austin Ekeler to dominate, get a ton of volume in the receiving game, always a threat to score multiple touchdowns. And I think the other clear guy that's normally at the 1 has a lot tougher matchup this week, so that's why I put him below. So Austin Ekeler at the 1 overall. At the number 2, I'm going to have Christian McCaffrey here. They're playing Pittsburgh this week, so it's going to be a little bit tougher matchup than Miami. Also, a lot more weapons. Doesn't really matter. You're playing these guys no matter what, so not too much to worry about here. Go on to the number 3 guy. I'm going to have Nick Chubb here, who they're going up against Cincinnati. Not a very tough matchup here, but it's going to be a really high-scoring game, which is good for him. But since they're going to have to pass the ball so much, some of that volume could go away from him, although we're hoping he's going to get more passing work this year, so we're just going to have to wait and see. This should be a pretty good game to kind of dictate what his future is going to look like this season, but obviously an absolute stud and a really high-scoring game. Should be playing him everywhere you got him. And then the last guy in this first tier I'm going to have Bijan Robinson going up against Carolina, which is actually a sneaky good defense. They're definitely better against the pass, but I think that they're going to want to show Bijan off this first week. And we've talked about it all offseason, but the Atlanta Falcons have one of the best run offenses in the entire NFL. So I think that this is a spot for Bijan to crush in his NFL debut. Then on to the next tier, my running back 5, I'm going to have Tony Pollard to start it off, going up against the New York Giants. Not a really easy matchup, not necessarily a really hard matchup, and he should get most of the volume here. We saw how explosive he was last year. He fully covered from his injury. It wasn't really even a talking point this offseason. And some of the people that could be ranked ahead of him, I think, have tougher matchups. So I took him at the top of this tier. And at my running back 6, I have the guy on the other side of the ball with Saquon Barkley here. One of the bell cow running backs in the NFL. They are playing Dallas, like I just mentioned. So that is a pretty tough defense. So I took a little bit of his, so I moved him down a little bit from where he normally could be. But regardless, he's an absolute stud. You drafted him in the first or early second round, so you're playing him no matter what. And then the last guy in this tier is going to be Derrick Henry going up against the Saints, which is the reason he's at the bottom of this tier. Another really good defense. And this is an offense that we're really unsure about. So we're going to have to see what it actually looks like. But he should still be getting, 25 to 30 touches a game. So he's going to be just fine. Nothing to worry about there. But have him down just a little bit where he could be. And then to start off my tier 3, I'm going to have Joe Mixon here. They're playing Cleveland. So that's a really good matchup for running backs. And he does not really have a ton of competition in his backfield, which is the reason I've been really high on him all offseason. Although I didn't really get him many places, but I think Detach has such a good offense and he is going to get so much volume that he's going to be this kind of back end running back 1 every single week, I think. But I don't know if he quite has those explosive plays to really put him in the upper echelon, but he should just get so much volume and a good offense that he's going to be solid every single week. And then my running back 9, I have Josh Jacobs here, who they're playing Denver, so that's why I have him a little bit lower than where he normally is. They're one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, and it should be interesting to see what they look like with Sean Payton. Jimmy G is also starting for the Raiders, so we're going to see what that offense looks like with him now, and definitely going to be tested this first week against Denver. So after Jacobs, I'm going to have Travis Etienne here next. They're playing Indy, which should be a good defense. They have a lot of good players, but they did last year too, and they were terrible. So I don't know exactly what to make of them right now. And the whole Travis Etienne situation with Tank Bigsby is definitely kind of tough to tell what's going on exactly, but they have a good track record against Indy, and I think Tank is more of a worry kind of later on in the season than he is this opening week, so I think Etienne should be solid this first week. They should also win by a lot, so they're probably going to want to run the ball out. Then my running back 11, I'm going to have J.K. Dobbins here. The reason he's so high this week is because they're opening up against Houston, who was historically one of the worst run defenses ever last year. Now, obviously, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what they're going to look like. They did add some pieces, obviously, like Will Anderson, but it's hard to really see them make a massive step forward where that's not going to be the case. And now with J.K. Dobbins fully healthy and the Ravens really just wanted to dominate this game, I think they're going to be able to run all over the place. So J.K. Dobbins should be a great play this week. And then the last guy in this tier at my running back 12 is going to be Ramondre Stevenson. Definitely should be interesting to see what this offense looks like now that they've actually added some coordinators. But they are opening this first week up against Philadelphia, which is a really, really good defense. So going to be tested right away. Get a good idea of what they'll look like against elite talent because they're going to be playing a lot of that this year. So I have Ramondre a little bit lower than where he was going in drafts, but I think that this matchup is going to be really tough. So that's why I have that. But I think he's still going to get enough volume where he needs to be in this kind of fringe running back 1 area. Now moving on to my running back 13 in tier 4, I'm going to start off with Kenneth Walker. Similar to what I talked about with like Travis Etienne, and I think that Zach Charbonnet can get more worked in later on in the season. Right now it should be mostly Kenneth Walker, so I think he's going to be able to be great for the start of the season and probably will continue to be, but could slow down just a little bit. They're also playing the LA Rams, which should not be a very good defense besides basically Aaron Donald. Everyone else is a bunch of young guys, so it could be difficult for them to really stop people, and I think Kenneth Walker could dominate. And then after him, another rookie I'm going to have here is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going up against the Chiefs on Thursday night, which is hopefully when this video is coming out. And it's hard to know exactly what his role is going to be because they signed David Montgomery, but then drafted him at the 12th pick. And now this entire offseason, they're talking about how they're going to use him in all these different ways. So it'll be interesting to see what that actually looks like right away. He's one of those guys that can take a screen pass 50 yards to the house. And the Kansas City defense is not the best, especially with Chris Jones not being there. And where you drafted him, you're going to be playing him no matter what. So I'm hoping that he can really explode this week and show people why he went as high as he did. But there definitely is a little bit of fear there just because they have David Montgomery. But this game should be high scoring enough where it shouldn't really matter and they should both be involved a lot. And the last guy in this tier is going to be Aaron Jones at the running back 15. I think as Jordan Love gets more ramped up, they could be passing the ball more, but right now they're really going to want to focus on the running game. And I also think that, even when they are passing the ball, Aaron Jones will be greatly involved in that because he'll be in easy checkdowns for him. And also last year, Chicago was one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Now, again, they did make moves this offseason, so it should be better, but still it's hard to make a massive jump in one offseason. So we'll have to see exactly what it looks like. But going off of last season, they were not a good rush defense. So Aaron Jones has a chance to absolutely dominate here. And if they give him the ball enough, he definitely could. So Aaron Jones has a chance to dominate here. And if they give him the ball enough, he definitely will. Now on to my running back 16, I'm going to have Najee Harris here. Tough matchup this opening week against San Francisco, but he should be getting 20, 25 touches a game, and the offense should be a lot better, which will create more opportunities for him to score and get some more openings. So I think based off of volume, you can't put him any lower, but definitely one of the toughest matchups. And then after him, I'm going to have Miles Sanders going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, he is questionable for this week 1, so we need to monitor that situation and make sure he's actually playing. But if he's playing, the Atlanta defense, not very good at all. And Miles Sanders, they paid him a lot this offseason. And with a rookie quarterback, you're probably going to want to rely on the running game. So I think he's going to be utilized a ton. I'll update in the comments down below if he sits out. And then after him, at my running back 18, I'm going to have Cam Akers here. Going up against Seattle, this would be a really good opportunity for us to see what this Rams offense looks like with hopefully everyone besides Cooper Kupp healthy, which will allow them to focus on people like Akers a lot more. But if he's able to do well in this game, then I think it's going to be a really promising sign for the rest of the season. And with Cooper Kupp out, he'll probably, hopefully, be used in the passing game more. So we're definitely probably going to have to wait and see kind of with Akers, but he was doing really good last year with Cooper Kupp out of the lineup at the end of the season. So we can hope for that again this year. And the last guy in this tier 5 is going to be Alexander Mattison going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kind of weird because they've been such a good defense over the past couple years, but I don't think they're going to be that good this year. And similar to kind of how Najee and Miles are, he should be getting enough work where he's going to be solid even if he's not efficient. And if he's able to be efficient, he could be significantly better than this. So if you have him, you're probably playing him. But let me know if you have any questions about sit starts versus him. And then to start off this last tier, I'm a running back 20. I'm going to have Rachaad White here. He's going up against the Minnesota Vikings, so he's on the other side of the ball from Madison. And the Vikings defense is not very good, but I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense will be very good. So we kind of got to see what wins out there. But Rachaad White volume should be pretty safe and secure. So that should allow him to be at least relevant for fantasy. How good he will actually be, it's hard to actually know because he didn't seem like he was that good last year. And the offense is probably going to be worse. But if he's able to make that next step because he is so athletic, then that could really help out a ton. And my running back 21 feels kind of low for him, but I have Dameon Pierce here. They're going up against Baltimore Baltimore, so it's a pretty tough matchup for them. And also last year, he was not really utilized a ton in the passing game. Now, Rex Burkhead isn't there anymore, but they did sign Devin Singletary. So I think that this is going to be a really good opportunity for us to see exactly how Dameon Pierce is going to be used this year, because if he's in on all the passing down and 2-minute drills, then he can go way, way higher than this and be like an actual RB1. But if he's not getting that work, then that could really be a cause for concern and could keep him more in this like lower end running back 2 area. But I think with this tough defense, I kind of have lowered him a little bit for this week, although I'm a lot higher on him for the entire season. I'm really hoping that he's utilized in the passing game and then he can be that true like workhorse back. So we'll have to wait and see with him a little bit, but I'm still probably starting him in the leagues that I do have him. And then my running back 22, another guy on Thursday night, is going to be Isaiah Pacheco. Now, some of this Chiefs stuff is still kind of in limbo because we don't know exactly what is going on with Travis Kelce since he just tweaked his hamstring. But they didn't really add anyone this offseason at the running back position, as some people thought they might. They re-signed McKinnon, but it seems like Pacheco's kind of going to be their main guy, although he's not really used in the receiving game at all. And people might not remember, but the Lions' rush defense was actually one of the best in the entire NFL last year. So there is a little bit of cause of concern there since he doesn't really have that floor with the receiving game. But I think this offense is good enough where he'll get enough work and be efficient and run hard enough where he should be solid. And obviously has a great chance for a touchdown every single week. And then another guy from this game, my running back 23, is going to be David Montgomery. I think that he's going to be really good, especially this first week when there's going to be a lot of utilization for everybody in this game. And there definitely is a thought of wanting Jahmyr Gibbs kind of working more later and David Montgomery really getting a lot of the rushing work right now. They've also talked up his receiving game, should be probably the goal line back there. And in such a high scoring game, there's definitely a great opportunity for him to score a touchdown and be really good for fantasy this week. So if you do have him, I would definitely be wanting to play him this week if I can. And then the last guy in this tier and in this top 24 is going to be Jamal Williams. Obviously, we know that Alvin Kamara will not be there for the first 3 weeks. And at least right now, it sounds like Kendre Miller won't be there to start the first week. And so if that's the case, then it's pretty much just Jamal Williams in the backfield. And with what should be an improved offense, and we saw how efficient he could be last year, I think that he could be really valuable for fantasy these first couple weeks. Now, they are playing the Titans, which is actually a really good rush defense as well. So there definitely is some concern there. But I think if both those guys are out, then he can have so much volume where it won't really matter. And then some other guys that are right outside this top 24 who I want to mention who are definitely in consideration to start are guys like Brian Robinson, James Conner, James Cook, Khalil Herbert, Breece Hall, Raheem Mostert, Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson. And honestly, if you wanted to make a case to start any of those guys over these guys in tier 6, wouldn't be mad at you because right now you really have no idea what their exact role is going to be in the offense. Some of them have really tough matchup like James Cook and James Conner. Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook also have a tough matchup. So just a lot of uncertainty here. But like I said, if you do have any start sit questions, just drop them down in the comments below. I'll try to get back to you as fast as I can because I know the week's about to start. My wide receiver rankings also should be coming out pretty soon. So make sure you stay around for those and I'll catch you guys there. Later.